The moment the chart refreshed, history quietly rewrote itself. With a single update on Billboard's most comprehensive ranking, Jimin stepped into uncharted territory, becoming the first and only K-pop soloist to claim the #1 spot on the Billboard Artist 100, a feat that instantly ignited celebrations across the global music community and sent fans flooding social media with messages of disbelief and pride. The Billboard Artist 100 is not a chart easily conquered. Unlike rankings that focus solely on a song or an album, it measures an artist's total impact in a given week, combining streaming numbers, digital and physical sales, radio airplay, and overall presence across Billboard's ecosystem. Reaching the summit means dominating on multiple fronts at once, and Jimin's ascent signaled something larger than a fleeting viral hit. It reflected a sustained, worldwide surge in attention, centered entirely on him as a solo performer. For longtime followers of BTS, the milestone felt like the natural evolution of an artist who had long captivated audiences with his distinctive voice, emotive performances, and magnetic stage presence. Since launching his solo career, Jimin has steadily built a catalog that resonates far beyond the group's already massive fanbase, drawing in casual listeners and new audiences across continents. Each release added momentum, but the week he topped the Artist 100 crystallized just how far that momentum had carried him. Fans quickly connected the dots between this achievement and his earlier record-breaking moments on Billboard, including his historic run on the Hot 100 and the strong performance of his solo projects worldwide. Taken together, the milestones painted a picture of an artist operating at peak global relevance, one whose music was being streamed in staggering numbers, purchased in record quantities, and discussed relentlessly online. Social platforms became a rolling celebration as hashtags bearing his name trended in multiple countries, while fellow artists, industry insiders, and media outlets highlighted the symbolic weight of the accomplishment. In an industry where group acts have traditionally led K-pop's international expansion, Jimin's Artist 100 victory underscored a shifting landscape, proving that Korean soloists can command the same all-encompassing presence on Western charts as the biggest pop stars in the world. Beyond the numbers, the achievement also carried a deeper emotional resonance for fans who have followed his journey from trainee days to stadium tours and now to solo superstardom. Many described the chart topper as validation of years of dedication, talent, and artistic risk-taking, while others framed it as another chapter in K-pop's ongoing transformation into a truly global force. As anticipation builds around his next moves, whether new music, collaborations, or future promotions, the question dominating conversations is no longer whether Jimin belongs among the world's elite solo artists, but how much further he can go. With his name now etched at the top of Billboard's Artist 100, he has not only secured a personal triumph, but also set a new benchmark for what a K-pop soloist can achieve on the world stage. The impact of the #1 ranking continued to ripple outward in the days that followed, with analysts pointing out how rare it is for any international act, let alone a soloist from the K-pop scene, to dominate so many metrics at once. Industry watchers highlighted the scale of Jimin's streaming figures in North America, Europe, and parts of Asia, alongside surges in digital downloads and renewed radio interest, all of which combined to propel him to the very top of Billboard's most holistic chart. The convergence of these data points suggested not just passionate fan mobilization, but widespread mainstream engagement. Music critics also began revisiting Jimin's solo catalog through a new lens, noting how his sound has evolved from the introspective tones that first defined his individual releases to more expansive, genre-blending productions that appeal to global audiences. His ability to balance vulnerability with polished pop craftsmanship has become a defining trait, one that allows listeners to connect emotionally while still delivering chart-friendly hooks. That duality, many argued, is what separates fleeting chart moments from career-shaping breakthroughs. Behind the scenes, the milestone sparked conversations about the strategic direction of his solo era, from carefully curated visuals and choreography to multilingual promotions and high-concept music videos. Every aspect of his releases has been designed to travel easily across borders. Marketing experts pointed to how his team leveraged digital platforms, fan communities, and timed appearances to amplify momentum at crucial moments, turning each new release into a global event rather than a localized comeback. Within the BTS fandom, the achievement was embraced not as a departure from the group's legacy, but as an extension of it. Supporters framed the victory as proof that the individual members can thrive independently while still contributing to the collective mythos that made BTS a cultural phenomenon in the first place. Many saw Jimin's chart-topping week as another building block towards the group's long-anticipated reunion activities, strengthening the narrative that each member is returning with sharpened skills and expanded international clout. As headlines continued to circulate, comparisons inevitably surfaced with other major solo acts across the world, placing Jimin in conversations traditionally dominated by Western pop heavyweights. His presence at the summit of the Artist 100 blurred long-standing industry boundaries, reinforcing the idea that language and geography are becoming increasingly irrelevant in the streaming era. What once felt extraordinary for a Korean artist is rapidly becoming part of a new normal, and Jimin's achievement stands as one of the clearest symbols of that shift. The story, however, is far from finished. Chart history tends to remember firsts, but it also remembers longevity, and observers are now watching closely to see how Jimin will build on this unprecedented moment. Whether through another major release, high-profile collaborations, or ambitious touring plans, expectations have skyrocketed, and every move will be scrutinized for signs of how he intends to follow a week that has already secured him a permanent place in Billboard lore.
Looking ahead, the spotlight on Jimin has only intensified, with fans and industry insiders alike dissecting every hint of what might come next. Speculation has grown around potential new music that could extend his solo narrative, with many anticipating a project that pushes even further into experimental territory, while maintaining the emotional intimacy that has become his trademark. Even subtle social media posts, behind-the-scenes photos, or brief mentions in interviews are now enough to spark global discussions, a testament to how closely the world is watching his trajectory. Executives within the global music business have reportedly taken note as well, viewing his rise to #1 on the Artist 100 as another data point proving that K-pop's influence is no longer confined to niche markets. For them, Jimin represents a case study in how a non-English language artist can command massive weekly engagement across platforms, from streaming services to radio and physical sales. His success is increasingly cited in conversations about international expansion strategies, cross-border collaborations, and the future of global pop marketing. The cultural implications of the milestone are equally striking. Commentators have observed how Jimin's artistry, rooted in years of rigorous training, performance discipline, and a distinctly Korean pop sensibility, has resonated with listeners who may have only recently begun exploring K-pop. His chart-topping moment has encouraged renewed curiosity about the genre as a whole, driving attention toward other soloists and groups and reinforcing South Korea's position as one of the most influential creative hubs in contemporary music. For Jimin himself, the achievement marks both a culmination and a beginning. In past interviews, he has spoken openly about the pressures of stepping out as a solo artist after years within a group dynamic, describing the process as both liberating and daunting. The Artist 100 victory now stands as public confirmation that the risk paid off, offering him greater artistic freedom and leverage as he plans his next chapters. As the narrative continues to unfold, one thing has become clear. This was not simply a one-week headline destined to fade with the next chart cycle. It has evolved into a defining moment in Jimin's career, one that reshapes expectations for what a K-pop soloist can achieve on the world's most visible music platforms.
With the industry recalibrating and fans bracing for whatever he unveils next, Jimin's ascent to the top of the Billboard Artist 100 feels less like an endpoint and more like the opening act of an even bigger global story. The conversation surrounding his achievement has also begun to take on a historical tone, with media outlets placing Jimin's name alongside a short list of international artists who have managed to dominate Billboard's Artist 100 at the height of their global visibility. Commentators have pointed out that the chart has traditionally been ruled by Western superstars, with massive radio exposure and long-established industry networks, making Jimin's breakthrough all the more remarkable. For many observers, it symbolized a turning point in how global audiences consume music, where streaming culture and digitally connected fandoms can elevate artists from any corner of the world to the very top. Within fan communities, the milestone has inspired retrospectives tracing his journey from early debut stages to sold-out arenas and record-setting solo releases. Old performance clips, practice videos, and interviews resurfaced across platforms, reframed through the lens of an artist who has now reached a level few could have predicted a decade ago. The sense of collective pride was palpable, not only because of the ranking itself, but because it felt like a reward for years of steady growth, experimentation, and resilience under the spotlight. Academic and cultural commentators have even begun to interpret the moment as part of a broader wave of Korean pop culture influence, linking Jimin's chart-topping week to the global popularity of Korean film, television, and fashion. His image, carefully crafted yet emotionally open, has become emblematic of how K-pop artists navigate the intersection of artistry, branding, and international appeal in the digital age. The Artist 100 victory in this view is not just about one musician's success, but about an entire industry reaching new levels of recognition and legitimacy on the global stage. Meanwhile, anticipation continues to build around how this achievement might shape Jimin's immediate future. Award show appearances, festival invitations, and potential high-profile collaborations now seem more plausible than ever, and insiders suggest that global promoters are paying close attention to the surge in his metrics. Each new opportunity would not only extend his personal reach, but also reinforce the precedent he has just set for other K-pop soloists aiming for similar heights. As the dust from the historic chart week settles, the lasting significance of Jimin's #1 ranking is becoming clearer. It has transformed from a headline into a reference point, something future achievements will inevitably be compared against. In redefining what is possible for a Korean solo artist on Billboard's most comprehensive chart, Jimin has carved out a moment that will be cited in industry analyses, fan discussions, and music history conversations for years to come, solidifying his place at the forefront of a rapidly evolving global pop landscape.